أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين. فإن للذين ظلموا ذنوبا مثل ذنوب أصحابهم فلا يستعجلون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين. فإن للذين ظلموا ذنوبا مثل ذنوب أصحابهم فلا يستعجلون. فويل للذين كفروا من يومهم الذي يوعدون. صدق الله العظيم.
Dr Allah SWT. The point of having these recitations at the start of each of our events is partly to reflect on the ayat if you know them, but also to hopefully encourage you to become yourself closer to the Quran and to start reciting. And I can say from everyone that I'm very happy because sometimes he doesn't believe me. I'm very happy to hear him recite every time he recites embark. He's also my fellow events officer. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Salman, who has studied biochemistry at Imperial and has also completed a PhD in chemical biology and is also very much involved during his time at the university with the ISOC. So he is, in effect, a great person to speak to us about what it's like to be a fresher and how to approach uni life.
Was I saying in the sisters area? Nobody told me. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum. Do I need this? Can you get? Okay, I need it. Right. I thought I'd start off by asking you guys, because probably had like a day full of lectures and stuff. And he said have some Q&A, but he didn't say who would do the question and who would do the answers. So I'll ask you guys a question. How many potential rewards do you get for reciting one letter of the Quran? Anybody know this? Listening on? 10, yes. Prophet ﷺ said that you stand to gain 10 rewards from each letter of the Quran. Not alif lam mim is one letter, one harf is, alif is 10, lam is 10, mim is 10, 10 rewards. Okay? Everyone with me so far? How many rewards can you get from reciting Surah Al-Fatiha? Just more difficult. Well, what information do you need to know beforehand?
10 times the number of letters.
Number of letters. So Ibn Kathir said Surah Al-Fatiha has 113 letters. So, sisters, how many rewards can you get from reciting Surah Al-Fatiha? 1,130. I think this is, come on, this is a bit patronizing. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. How many rewards can you get from just from the Surah Al-Fatiha? I think my time's up now. Some people are like, how many rewards can you get just from Surah Al-Fatiha, just from the obligatory prayers, just for one day? Okay, what do you need to know here now? You need to know how many times you recite Surah Al-Fatiha in a day, which is? 17. Okay? So 17 times 1,130.
19,210.
Very good. Did you do that in your head? Like, what's that guy, imitation game? Alan Turing. I was about to say Benedict Cumberbatch, but he was just the guy imitating. MashaAllah. So 19,210 from what? From just one day, just from the Surah Al-Fatiha, part of just from the obligatory prayers. I want you to ask yourself, how easily will I just round it down? Don't mind, you can take the 10. You can take 210. I'll be happy with 19,000 good deeds on my scale, just from one day, just from the Fatiha, just from the obligatory prayers. But Ibn Abbas, he said that because he's talking about the unseen, this is taken as though it's from the Prophet. He said, on the day of resurrection, in the terror, the panic, when people will be like moths, and people will be running around as though they're drunk. In that scene, a man will, in the panic, find his son. And he'll say, oh my son, what kind of father was I for you in this life? He'll say, you were the best father I could have asked for. You were the best father I could have asked for. And he'll say, just give me one hasan. Just give me one good deed. And what's that son going to say to the best father he could have asked for? Say, what's he going to say? Anyone? He's going to say, no, not on this day. On this day, everyone's going to be worried about themselves. فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه. When the trumpet is blown, people are scurrying around their resurrection. A man will run away from his wife. A brother will run away from his brother. A father will run away from his son. Everyone's just worried about their own selves. So on that day, things get put into perspective. That thing just a few seconds ago we thought, yeah, I'd easily just round it down and just, yeah, give me 19,000. On that day, people would be so stingy over just one hasana, one good deed. Why do I mention this? Sometimes we need a bit of a wake-up call as to the value of the stuff in front of us. You know, we have this thing called, I forgot what it's called actually, I think contrast fallacy, where we assign value to something based on how rare it is or how it looks next to something else. You know, you might walk 5 minutes down the road to save £5 on your lunch, but you wouldn't walk 5 minutes down the road or 1 minute down the road to save £5 on a house purchase, a few £100,000, even though it's the same £5. It's just contrast fallacy. You know? So when we're looking at huge numbers, our good deeds, potential good deeds, we'll easily say, you know what, yeah, I'll take the 19,000. You need to just give the 200 to someone else. But when push comes to shove, when we can actually see the value of these good deeds, people are going to be much more stingy than that. And I mention this because I was at university for a long time, probably like 10 years or something. And I saw loads of cohorts come and go, and in the middle there was a transformation. I started believing in evolution. Because I saw lots of monkeys come in turning into men. You come in, you're young, you're a bit ignorant. Even myself, we think, we know the world. We come in, we transform a bit. Alhamdulillah, most of the people I came across, the cohorts, they transformed for the better. Some people went the other way, but by and large, alhamdulillah, university is a transformative time. You will become the man or the woman, or something in between, to gauge the room. You will become, that's a joke by the way, you will become, so I won't cancel you for laughing. You will become the person, the adult you're probably going to be for the rest of your life. And in this time, one of the pieces of advice I got, and I keep on giving as well, is for this time, don't belittle anything. Don't belittle anything. Something might seem trivial, something might seem small, but don't belittle anything. Especially good deeds. Especially the asl, the core, the crux of good deeds, which is ta'zim al-Rabb, glorifying Allah. As the brother recited, this is why we were created. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah says, I didn't create the jinn and mankind except that they worship me. And alhamdulillah, Allah has made worship so broad. Some people have a very narrow, restrictive understanding of worship. It's possible for us, out of the mercy of Allah, to spend 24 hours a day worshiping Allah. It doesn't mean, worship doesn't necessarily mean you're sitting on the prayer mat with a tasbih in your hand, or you're reciting Quran, or making dua, or making dhikr. Yes, that is worship, but that's not the extent of worship. Worship is anything you do to draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of your life can be transformed into worship, but it requires us to pay attention to the details. Some people might overlook certain things. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, "Inni la ahtasibu nawmati kama ahtasibu qawmati." I hope for reward for my sleep, just like I hope for reward for my standing in worship. Why? How can sleep become ibadah? How can sleep give you reward? Anyone?
If you do with the intention of finding that energy to then do good when you wake up.
Yeah, it's all based on the intention. I remember, unfortunately I was the opposite type of guy at uni, but I remember the person that would say, "Oh, I can't come out tonight because I'm gonna be late to bed and I won't wake up for Fajr on time." There were people like that, mashallah. While we were kind of at Nando's or whatever. Well, I think you guys have a halal subway around here. So it's a bit far. Okay. So I mean, there was always that one person Like, you know, I can't come out today, tonight. I'm gonna, be lazy for the whatever. I'm gonna miss for the. That person, maybe we didn't realize it back then. That person possibly transformed his or her whole night into worship because of the reason why you slept. Yeah. I saw the title of the talk briefly. It said something about intention, so I was talking about intention. Yeah. This is intention. This is the power of intention. Okay. Don't belittle something. Something might be small materially, but it might be huge due to the intention. Something might be big, for onlookers, but it might be kind of shrunk and tiny based on intentional lack or bad intention. But everyone talks about intention. We used to do this this seminar with Sabil. Anyone heard of Sabil? Yes, it's a nice kind of educational, institute. Sabil, it was called the Soul's Musk. It was just a whole retreat just about intention. Because everyone talks about intention. When you're about to do something good, hey, everyone have a good intention. But people rarely tell you what that actually means. What does good intention mean? Imagine imagine charity week. You guys do charity week. A few of my friends invented that. Started that bid'ah. Mashallah. That's how old I am. You guys probably think, it's like when they invented the university, they started charity weeks. Remember they started, it was fun. We used to steal money from rival universities' buckets. Is that still a thing? It's probably not for ourselves, obviously, but tanafus. Competing for the khair, inshallah. Anyways, what was I saying again? Intention. Yeah, imagine charity week. Somebody comes around with a bucket, and they say, and everyone's like putting a few pounds in, and then Nabil, he's like, oh, you know what? What's the role again? I'm the ISOC events officer, man. He's thinking to himself, I'm the ISOC events officer. If I don't put some money in, people are going to be like, oh, what a stingy guy, he's telling people to donate. Let me put some money in. Good intention or bad intention? Anyone? Bad. That is obvious. What most of us do when we hear those words in our head, before for the moment we're like, oh yeah, wait, that's a bad intention. We realize, and then we say, this is for Allah, this is for Allah, to ourselves. Yeah? My question is, did he actually change his intention? Yeah? This is a tough one. You see, in the whole of Islam, the ulama, the scholars, they say, ignore wiswas. Downplay wiswas, like whispers, OCD type behavior, type thoughts. Did I make wudu? Did my wudu valid or not? Did I wet my elbow in wudu or not? Did I do this or not? You're supposed to ignore those, you're supposed to silence those, right? Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, shaitan's kind of playing with you. Except for this area, the area of intentions. The scholars, they say, you can, maybe you should, always doubt your own sincerity. It keeps you on your toes. I.e., did I really change my intention? Did I really do that Hajj for the sake of Allah? Did I really have zero showing off when I was praying, when I was reciting Quran, when I was fasting, and I would say, hey, I'm going to break my fast now. Did I really do that for Allah? Not to stop you, but to keep you on your toes, to keep you training that sincerity muscle. In that example, this is for Allah, this is for Allah. The slave has no recourse but to talk to himself or herself and try and make that voice in their head as loud as possible. It's literally called hadith al-nafs, talking to yourself. Yeah? And there's different, the ulama of Islam is amazing. They have different levels of what we might call intention now. Yeah? From you see a billboard and say, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that. That type of fleeting intention to all the way, I'm going to do that thing. I'm gonna go to that place. That's my intention. My car breaks down. I'm gonna get out and get an Uber. It's raining. It's snowing. There's an earthquake. I'm still gonna go. That both of these things are called intention, right? But they have different levels. And kind of in the middle, this hadith al-nafs. And sometimes you just have to keep telling yourself and keep hoping and keep fearing. Yeah, keep yourself in that balance. You know? So that's what an intention is. What's a good intention? So the intention is something, it's kind of amorphous, but we know it's something that pushes something. So the initial intention was a bad intention. He wanted to, the thing that made him take his wallet out, dodge the butterfly, find the £5 note, but then he started talking to himself and saying, you know what, this is for Allah, this is a bad intention, Allah, I'm making this for you, I'm giving this for you. Okay, so that's kind of intention, but what is a good intention? Yeah. Summary, it's one or more of three things. Okay? Either it's, why am I doing something, or what's that thing you're telling yourself, or why am I doing this act of worship, or any act, as I mentioned in a second. It's eventually because of love of Allah, yeah, hope in a reward from Allah, or fear for your sins or some punishment in the hereafter. Yeah, one or more of these things is a good intention. And some people, when they train these habits, they can do multiple of these intentions at once. Okay. Now I said eventually. Why? Because you may be at university because your parents told you to come to university. Yeah? Why are you at uni? My mum forced me. I'm being honest. That doesn't mean it's good or bad. You have to ask, why did you listen to your mum? Because if she didn't, I would have gotten a tapper. Yeah? Fair enough. That's just normal human behavior. You're not sinful for doing normal human habits for other than Allah. But it's a lost opportunity. Someone else could say, why are you at university? Oh, because my mum forced me to be here. Why did you listen to your mum? Oh, because Allah said, be kind to your parents. Allah said, show thanks to your parents. Allah said, all of these things about parents. These are like the only people that Allah Jalla wa Ala said in the Quran, thank them and thank me. Anishkurli wali walidayka wa ilayya al-masir. Yeah, the only people you are told to give thanks to in the Quran, other than Allah, yeah, or alongside Allah. These are the people. The Prophet ﷺ said, the pleasure of Allah lies in the pleasure of the parent. Yeah. That's translated as parent because, mixed crowd is one interpretation, right? Or the pleasure of Allah lies in the pleasure of the father. Okay? So if that's your reason for obeying your mum, and then therefore going to school, going to university, then every single thing you do, especially if you're thinking about it, you're present in your, intentionality. You're not just kind of a drone wandering about like everyone else. But you're present, your intention is, Allah, I'm getting up early for this lecture because if I do this, I'm gonna have a good chance at doing well at university. If I do well at university, then I'll please my parents. And if I please my parents, then I please you. Why do I want to please you? Because I love you, Ya Allah. Because I want Jannah, or I want to escape the hellfire. I have too many sins. I want to remove my sins. So all of us do mundane, worldly, earthly actions. Yeah. Adatul ghafilin, ibadatul salihin. Adat, the everyday, mundane, routine actions of people, of heedless people, are in fact actions of worship for righteous people. Why? Because everyone buys milk and bread. Everyone pays the electric bill. Everyone pays their road tax or whatever. And fair enough. But the righteous person, what we want to be, what we're aiming for is, when you're buying that milk and bread, your intention is what? Oh Allah, I'm buying this halal rizq that you have provided, and because you put me in charge of a physical body, it's an amana, this is a trust, or you put me in charge of maybe your kids or some housemates or whatever in your case, and I want to discharge that in a way using halal rizq, in a way that brings me close to you, because out of love, to hope, or out of fear, the three pillars of worship. Now, this person, they've upgraded that normal routine act into an action of worship. Yeah? So it's hard to think of anything that you do in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, or 10 years at university. It's hard to think of anything that cannot fall inside of ibadah, inside of worship. Yeah? What does it require? It requires intention. Well, point here. That's another story. Yeah? But it requires us to be present, not just kind of wandering around like drones. Yeah, it's not sinful, but it's a missed opportunity. That's why I said don't belittle anything. Don't belittle a good deed, the potential for a good deed, and don't belittle a sin either. Not to say get all OCD about little things, no. Meaning, be wary of things, give things their due importance. And for example, okay, I saw this example loads of times. Imagine I'll mention the bad one first to end on a kind of positive note. Alright, imagine if someone says, you know what, we're having a party tonight, you wanna come around, you know it's gonna be fun. And you know kind of there's gonna be some dodgy stuff at the party. I'm not against partying, by the way. Really a fun guy. Because my PhD was in algae. Okay. Only the biologists didn't laugh because algae and fungi are completely different. But anyway, you know there's some kind of dodgy stuff, but maybe, I'm not going to say maybe just turning up is haram. I'm not going to say haram or anything. But you know that, okay, maybe it's a bit of dodgy, it's a bit dodgy, you know, maybe the person might be alcohol there or whatever. Okay, so you're like, should I go? Okay, yeah, I'll go. Okay. Right now, let's, for argument's sake, assume it's nothing clearly dodgy, but okay, you give in, you say, okay, let's go. Your intention is there, you want to have fun, nothing wrong with that. Then you hear, you know what, there's going to be some weird stuff happening at the party, some drink, some drugs, whatever, some free mixing, all that kind of stuff. You know, okay, go and check it out. You go to the place, see, you hear the music's blaring, you can smell the alcohol in there. You go in anyway, you know. You're spending time there, you're surrounded in that environment. One thing leads to another, yeah. And you realize, wait a second, I came because I thought maybe maybe it might not be that dodgy, but just being here, I've been around so many different sins, yeah. Alcohol, free mixing, people, not acting as I believe we should be acting. Maybe going to a conversation with someone, yeah. So I'm flirtatious because I'm a charming kind of guy. Yeah, it's hard not to. All right. You're talking to someone, talking, and you realize, oh man, I missed Asr. Yeah. So something which is a huge, serious sin. You know. Let's not forget about like zina, drinking alcohol, other stuff. This is a major error on my part. If I miss a salah, for example, this should be like the pillar of my life, my schedule, my daily schedule. Yeah? So one thing leads to another, and that's the nature of sins. Yeah? One of our mashayikh, genius in Islamic law, he said, look, like the philosophy of Islamic law is what, if Allah really dislikes something, He declares it as a major sin. Stay away from it. Okay? Fair enough. But not just that. He surrounds it with minor sins. Yeah? Look at this genius of Sharia. He surrounds the major sin with minor sin. So someone's not going to accidentally fall into a major sin. He has to go through, she has to go through certain minor sins and barriers. And he surrounds that with grey area. It's kind of ambiguous. Well, I don't know, can I sit next to her in lecture or not? Yeah? If you're thinking about that, you're not going to go, commit zina. Come on, you have to go through so many hurdles in order to actually commit these major sins that are destructive, poisonous to yourself and society. Yeah? So, ignoring those quote-unquote minor things, okay, they add up and they lead to more and more progressively worse things. Yeah? And we can all think of maybe examples of that, of the importance of making sure there's no kinks in the armor. Remember this really cool film a few years ago, War Dogs? Anybody seen it? War Dogs? So my excuse is actually based on real life, and it's like so it's kind of basically a documentary. It's educational. It's about these two kind of goofy guys in America that just some teenagers or something, early 20s students, they just made an arms company. Started trading arms with the US government, like procuring, illegal weapons and all that kind of stuff. It's a true story. They had this huge multi-million-dollar operation, but it all came crumbling down. Spoiler alert if anyone wants to watch it. It all came crumbling down because they didn't pay an invoice to some guy in Albania. Yeah? So they kept ignoring his invoices. He picked up the phone and just snitched on them to the US government. And then these guys, they're storing all these all these illegal weapons from China and all that kind of stuff, and they're selling on the black market or whatever. So, never ignore, don't belittle a potential kink in the armor, yeah, in the fortress. Shaitan can come in from something that you're not even giving that much importance to, yeah. Then you'll come closer and closer and closer to the real, to your heart, to your personality disorders, to your mental health, to your iman, your relationship with Allah SWT, to your ability to think clearly. Sins have an effect on your intelligence. Yeah? They have an effect on your intelligence. Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he famously, Imam Shafi'i, he said, when he looked at a woman that he wasn't supposed to, and his memory began to wane. This is a Shafi'i, what we call an eidetic memory today. He would have to cover one page in a book because he might memorize in the wrong order. Yeah, and the famous, poem goes. I think someone made a nasheeda, but it's nice. Shakawtu ila Waki' su'a hifdhi fa'arshadani an tark al-ma'asi. I complained to Waki' about my memory becoming weak, and he said, leave sins. I said, what? Yeah, leave sins. Sins have an effect on your ability to comprehend, ability to memorize, ability to learn. But, like I said, it works both ways. It's not just doom and gloom. Allah SWT, in His mercy, He made good deeds lead to more and more and more good deeds. Imagine, about to sit in a lecture, someone says, bro, let's go to, hopefully your brother's telling your brother, sister, let's go to the prayer room for Allah, we've got some time, yeah? And you're thinking, I'm not just praying in the corner here or something, He said, no, let's go to the prayer room. You're like, okay, good deed. Straight away. Intention, okay, fine, I'm going to the prayer room. Brother, the Prophet ﷺ said, some people will be dragged into paradise in chains. Yeah, one interpretation of this hadith is, they had friends that would, one outcome of the interpretation is, like this, people kind of just taken along because they had good company, yeah. People kind of took them into good areas, nice habits, and so on and so forth. So you decided to sit next to that person who, maybe at that level, maybe that was your intention. I could sit next to this cool guy who reminds me to go to the prayer room. Yeah, good deed. You intended to go to the Dhuhr, good deed. Even if something happened, something came up, the lecture overran and you missed the Salah, you still get rewarded for that good deed. Allah rewards you for intention to do a good deed. Not only that, you're going to the prayer room. We can say it's like going to a masjid for students, right? Every step you're taking, Prophet ﷺ said, you get rewarded going to the masjid, going to the congregational prayer. That earth will testify for you on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah, and the earth gets excited. There's a sentience we see from the nusus, the text of Islam. Yeah? That inanimate objects have a type of sentience. They will be called to give witness on the day of resurrection. The earth gets excited when people use it, travel on it to worship Allah. And if you're intending all of this even more, that reward is getting more and more compounded. You're remembering how that guy, a handsome guy in the lecture the other day, he said, you're walking on the earth and the earth, bears witness for you. Talk about a different lecture. Yeah. So before you've even gone to the prayer room, while you're going, getting so many rewards. Yeah. When you go there, you see brothers, sisters coming out, you say Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, rewards. Yeah. Someone says Assalamu alaikum, you say wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, 30 rewards. First guy gets 10. If you say wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi, you get 20, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, you get 30. There rewards from the Prophet he said. You go inside, you make wudu. Yeah. And you're careful, don't waste water. Yeah, and the prayer will be like, some people go inside and make wudu, it looks like the bathroom in ghusl. Yeah. So you make wudu, you're careful with the water, your sins are being washed away. Yeah? The sins of the hands, the mouth, the eyes, the feet. Okay? You're getting rewarded. You're making the dhikr after, you're making shahada after, making dua after the wudu. Yeah? Reward. You're going, a few minutes left for the jama'ah, then might as well pray some sunnah. Yeah? Tahiyatul masjid, why not? Tahiyatul wudu. When 2 rak'ah for going to a masjid or a place of worship, or after you make wudu, I'm going to combine it into my intention. Sunnah before dhuhr as well. Okay? Bang, bang, bang. You get all these rewards. You do the salah in jama'ah, 27 times more reward. Maybe, okay, you're in a hurry. You say, I'll do the sunnah later. You go out, you say Assalamu alaikum to a few more people. All of this mountain of good deeds it was a result of that tiny little needle that was in your heart somewhere. Yeah? Some indeterminate thing that we call an intention that's not subject to the forces of this universe. It's something beyond it. It's something that you just choose, okay, yes, I'm going to intend to go with you to the prayer room. And then Allah SWT, He creates so many good consequences after that. You could just chosen no. It's not a sin. But don't belittle that. You don't know what mountains of good deeds might come after this. Yeah? And then you're going outside of the prayer room, you see a lecture poster, Dr Salman Butt. I know this guy. He owes me money. Yeah? Then you go, okay, I'm gonna come to this lecture, and maybe I might say something, someone might say something, whatever, and you might just click in your head, and it might change your life. Yeah. I went to Masjid, Cambridge. What's it called? CCM. Really nice, mashallah. I went there for Maghrib, and I saw a friend from the university. Yeah, when I was in graduate school in Imperial College, 2010ish. Yeah. How do I look that up? Do I look that up? I caught my head for a few minutes. I went to university in 2004 until like 12ish, 13. So during the last maybe 5 years or so, in that window, I met this brother. His name's Davide. He converted to Islam, yeah, from Italian. Can't remember what he was, but he was there. And And he was like, I remember, I do remember him. He's like, I remember once you said something to me. I don't even remember what I said. This is just some kind of lame joke I told him. I was like, he was walking with a Muslim brother from Libya. He had so much fun. If you ever get to a PhD, you should do it. So much fun. And trauma, but fun as well. He was walking along with it, and I just said to him as a lame joke, I said, when are you becoming Muslim? And he's like, then he became Muslim, eventually. And he goes, he just told me now, he said, I remember when you said that. And I tell people that this guy, man, he was like quite intrusive. He was like, he goes, when you become Muslim, then it made me think. He was like, well, when am I becoming Muslim? Yeah? The Prophet ﷺ said something similar to Khalid ibn Walid. He said, is it not time for Khalid to finally submit? And something like this, words like this. You never know, something tiny. Someone said once, I heard a khutbah that changed my life years ago. And I was worried, I was like, man, I wish I intended that. I hope I get reward for all this. I always, I learned this from our Shaykh, that always feel like regret, like maybe, and always be on your toes, like maybe you might say something and might hit in someone's hearts, differently, and you might transform them. And ask Allah to give you the reward of all the good deeds that they do. Because Dalu ala khair kafa'ili. Prophet ﷺ said, whoever directs people towards a good is like the one who does it. So maybe someone, you bump into someone, you might have a good impact on them. Okay, it's huge potential, huge mountain of good deeds. Okay, for you on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yeah, so university, this is a hugely important time. Okay, don't belittle anything. Now, the example I used wasn't a sin. Yeah, if you're saying I'm going to pray, according to the majority of scholars, if especially if you're a man, if you pray by yourself, you're not sinful. Yeah. Obviously, it's far better to pray in Jama'ah. Now, that person has that choice, okay? Because automatically we have this thing in our brains. They call it confabulation. Okay? Really love this really spooky experiment from like the 60s or 70s, before there was like any bioethics or anything. Yeah? They severed the connection between left and right hemispheres of people's brains. Yeah? It didn't sound like that, I hope. But they had, their justification was they had epilepsy and they wanted to stop, seizures spreading to the whole brain. So they were like, okay, let's interview these people now. We've severed two hemispheres of their brain. Let's interview them, let's do some tests on them. And in a nutshell, your brain has, normally obviously there's connection between the two bundles of all the billions and billions of neurons and stuff. But if you sever the connection, there's effectively no communication between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. What does that mean? It means theoretically you can send a message to one half of the brain that the other half of the brain is not privy to. Okay? And so if you're looking in one place, the right half of your field of view is processed by the left side of the brain. The left half is processed by the right side of the brain. So they can give you part of your message, like stand up. Yeah? So the person will stand up. Then they ask the other part of the brain, why did you stand up? Yeah? And that part of the brain is dealing with speech and language and stuff. Okay? Normally you say, because you put a thing on the screen saying stand up, but because they couldn't communicate with both sides of the brain, something really spooky happened. Yeah? Instead of saying, I don't know why I stood up, they said things like, I stood up to get a glass of water. Or I stood up to open the window because it's getting very cold in here. They make things up. They make up excuses. Yeah? When they were kind of caught out or challenged on why they did something that was a bit odd, or why they did something wrong, quote unquote, or why they didn't do something good. I'm saying this because that's what they call confabulation. Yeah, that there's an automatic reaction to justify, to make up something. Yeah, we do this all the time for sins, for mistakes that we made. Yeah, if we annoyed someone, an argument with someone, oh, but they did this, but they did that. Okay, and this is something that a believer should always be wary of, that there's a natural tendency baked into your biology to make you more likely to just justify things. So when you say, for example, if someone gives you an idea, hey, why don't you come pray Fajr in the prayer room or in the masjid? Yeah? You have two choices. Okay? Make an excuse. Oh, you know where it's far away. You know what? Some people say, you have to pray in Jama'ah. So, fair enough. But you could just say, Jazakallah khair, thanks, that's a good idea, I'm going to try it. Because what's going to happen tomorrow morning, if you make the excuse, what's going to happen tomorrow morning, your alarm goes off. Yeah? Before you even open your eyes, you've already recycled yesterday's excuse. Oh yeah, it is far away. Oh yeah, it is cold in the morning. Oh yeah, I don't really have to go. Yeah? So this is one of the ways, many ways that we, if we're not careful, we belittle things, we start clipping our own wings. Yeah? And not growing. Obviously sins, we should be very cautious of not justifying sins. Yeah? This is one of Shaitan's traps. Yeah? To make you justify sin, that then you cut yourself off from tawbah and repentance. So obviously it goes without saying, never ever justify sin. If you commit sin, Allah loves it that you come to Him, admitting your sins, broken-hearted, asking for forgiveness. Even if you return to that sin 1,000,000 times, if you're in that instance you're sincere, you really want to not continue or carry on with that sin, the burden of that sin, Allah will wipe that sin away from you. Yeah? But never ever justify. What I'm saying beyond that, a higher level of consciousness that we should, presence that we should be aiming for is, don't even justify not taking those opportunities for even better, even more good deeds, improving our relation with Allah, improving our akhlaq, our character, our good habits, our skills, whatever, yeah? Because naturally, number one, it's a natural automated reaction, and number two, if we make excuses, we're going to kind of block ourselves off from the opportunities to grow and improve in so many spheres of life. Alright, so take our message as well, don't belittle anything. A simple good idea, responding to an invitation, responding to an idea, it might lead to so many mountains of good deeds later on. Responding to or intending something which is a bad choice, yeah, it may lead to worse and worse and worse choices until you're in full-blown kind of sin territory, until it's so many things are kind of engulfing you from different angles. It's just not worth that headache. That's not to say don't make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, and don't be afraid of making mistakes if you're doing something good. Yeah, but be wary of the little things. Yeah, things that people overlook, things that people neglect. Okay, and one of the best ways. It's the last thing I'm going to say. Now maybe Q&A. I'm kind of lost track of time. Alright, this is. Okay. I have an hour and a half more, so what was I going to say? Yeah. One of the best ways to do this is to surround yourself with a good crowd. Yeah? Doesn't have to be the ISOP crowd. I don't know what the ISOP's like. Sounds like, seems like a pretty nice crowd to me, but wherever you feel, okay, your iman is preserved and increasing and flourishing, and your ta'zeem of Allah, your glorification of Allah, yeah, is flourishing, your good deeds, your You know, your habits, your character is improving. Yeah. And some eye sockets, there might be like a clique. Some people might be maybe scared to, you know what I mean? Like eye sockets is like that. But I've heard that some eye sockets are kind of, you know, people are what's the word? Hesitant or put off. I think they might not fit in, or they might feel too exclusive. Yeah. You know. So this is that's for eye sockets as well. Do something that's fun, not just like lectures and boring stuff, but you know, fun stuff. You know, socials, milkshakes, pizza, all that kind of stuff. Maybe have a little reminder, but just rubbing shoulders with fellow eye sockets. Yeah. Even that is good. And again, with the right intention. Yeah. The right intention, even having fun, even having, you know, a football tournament or just a munch in the prayer room, that can be ibadah. You know? So try and surround yourself with people that will help you on this journey. You know? Don't belittle. I think, have I spoken for long enough? You wanna maybe open up to some Q&A? Feeling a bit I could spoken too much. I could speak for hours. I love the sound of my voice, especially if you can hear it through the speakers. Yeah.
What do you think is a big challenge that you see young Muslims facing when they come to university?
Question: what's a big challenge young Muslims facing when they come to university? To be honest, my assessment's probably a bit out of date. You know, probably see something really like, you know, not getting the best deals at Woolworths or Blockbuster videos, and that's probably nobody knows what that is. Wrong crowd. So back when I was at university, I get the impression that this generation of students, are you guys Gen Z? What's the gen that's after Z? Alpha.
Yeah.
Is that just for like top G? What about, yeah, so well, as an outsider, my assessment is you guys don't have any of the issues that when the generation that went when I was at university had. Okay, it feels, especially what we've seen with the encampments, the student activism scene, the death of Prevent, for example. Yeah, I was proud to play some part in, alhamdulillah. That, you know, no one can mess with you guys. I mean, there was a period like 2010 or 2012 to like 2018, 19, where I think Prevent was in full force. Do you guys know what Prevent is? Yeah. So, and you know, Muslims were scared to exhibit their Muslimness on campus in some instances. They were scared of, you know, surveillance. They were self-policing. They were like not inviting speakers from outside because they had to jump through so many other hoops that non-Muslim students don't have to jump through. But it feels now that all of these things that, it feels, I don't know from an outside, I don't know if you agree, but Muslim students feel at ease and confident in their skin more so than before. That's what I feel. That's what I would have said maybe 5-10 years ago. That the challenge is Muslims feeling confident, not having an inferiority complex, not feeling scared, not feeling that they are a suspect community. And I feel that the trajectory is going in the right direction. But what I would say now is, I think the biggest threat or biggest challenge is these things. Yeah, the consequences of surveillance capitalism. What Professor Shoshana Mzugo calls surveillance capitalism. Yeah, this new economy that we live in, that is geared towards predicting future human behavior with more and more accuracy. Because what that does is, it's created new discourses, including Islamic discourse, which prioritizes kind of content, Islamic content, that serves the machine rather than that serves your akhirah. So as a result, if I ask you what's the last quote-unquote Islamic thing that you engage with online, chances are, won't pick on anyone, chances are it was something that's maybe inflammatory, sensationalist, controversial, some person attacking or refuting another person, or just something so benign and you know, wishy-washy and kind of temporary iman booster kind of thing. Not something that is served to you based on a broader, wider tarbiyah agenda, strategy, tarbiyah, nurturing and cultivating you as a holistic Muslim, right? And that's the thing I'm worried about. Not just students, but students, because students are that age where they're being, you know, bombarded with this kind of stuff. This is for everyone. As I wrote an article a few years ago called "Artificial Intelligence is Making a New Madhab." Yeah, new school of thought. Great article. Yeah, you should check it out. Yeah. But that's what I would say is a big challenge. And as a result, we need to take our own tarbiyah in our own hands. Sign up to some kind of program. I don't care what school of thought it is, whatever background it is. Generally a mainstream Islamic Muslim kind of thing. Sign up to it. Ideally, if it's a tarbiyah program, very few of those tarbiyahs are holistic, nurturing. If not tarbiyah, then at least some kind of educational institute or something where at least you have a plan to be exposed to the whole of Islam, whole of Islamic knowledge, even if it's, you know, not deep, like level 1, level 1, level 1, level 1, because otherwise you're just going to be at the whim of whatever you know, tickles the algorithm, and it just kind of. So many people, they spend years, a lecture here, a reminder there, a book there, maybe a course here, and it's all kind of jumbled up. They don't have. You could spend 1/10 of the time, and just even this the intellectual aspect, you can spend 1/10 of the time and learn the structure, the scaffolding of Islam and Islamic studies. Yeah? Learn the scaffolding. So then, for the next 10, 20, 30 years, as you get the book here, or the lecture there, or the reminder here, you know where it goes. Yeah? I'll give you one example. Most people, when it comes to fiqh, Islamic law, the do's and don'ts, they learn maybe the basic stuff they need to pray and stuff, and then all the controversial stuff, things that people argue on. Okay, unfortunately that's how it is. That's what goes viral, right? But imagine if you don't even do it with a sheikh, just basic level 1 book, any school of thought, choose one, Hanafi, Shafi'i, whatever. You grab one, you just learn it, or you just read it from start to finish, from Kitab al-Tahara to Kitab al-Qadar, to the book of judging between disputants. Yeah? Because what will this do? Okay? You know, if you just read or learn the chapters of worship, our Shaykh said something really deep once. He said, if you become a specialist in Aqidah in the traditional way, you'll be very bad at politics. Yeah. Why? But when you learn the chapters of worship, for example, what is the underlying default position? Everything's haram. In worship, everything is haram except, and here's how you do worship. You don't just go around and start worshiping how you want. No. Everything is disallowed, and here is how you do it. Okay, so it's an affirmative thing. You have to. This is how you do it. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. If you don't go beyond the chapters of worship, this is how your thinking is going to be for everything. Restrictive, black and white. But if you go through beyond Kitab Hajj, for example, beyond the worship, pillars of worship, onto all the other things, business, mu'amalat, maliya, just kind of financial transactions, marriage, divorce, politics, war, warfare, international law, qada, judging. When you even just having an appreciation of it, just a level one understanding, like the basic textbook, you see, wait a second, the default position of this is the opposite of worship. It's everything's allowed. Everything's allowed. It expands your thinking and doesn't make you feel kind of restricted that, oh, Allah is kind of just waiting for me to slip up and then wants to punish me. No. Allah wants you to innovate in these areas. Allah wants you to be dynamic in mu'amalat, in your normal interactions with people, in your politics, in your warfare, in your, not that I'm telling you to go war with anyone, but as just your thinking, right? In your transactions, in your business, in your economics, it's very different to your acts of worship. Yeah? So this is what I mean. Take your own tarbiyah and education into your own hands, or with a shaykh, with an institute, whatever. Sign up to something, and you'll have that broad framework. You'll be able to. And I really, really recommend. I've seen people do both. Do things, kind of ad hoc, and people sign up to some kind of program. It's a night and day difference. Yeah, just being wise. Not even that. Our shaykh, he says, because some of our mashayikh, they, du'at and other scholars, they come to them for issues and problems and disputes and fights and stuff. They say, we can tell the difference between someone who received tarbiyah, the nurturing, the education, as an individual versus as a jama'ah, as a group. Even that, just bearing the annoyance of being in the ISOC, of things running late and you're having to sleep on the floor when you go on a trip, or things not being ideal, that builds your character. Some people, if they don't have that, they're a one-man show, so to speak. You might see them with some lecturers or whatever. They turn up, their PowerPoint's not working, and they just kind of melt into a puddle of anxiety. Be very careful about taking your own tarbiyah seriously. Tarbiyah is broader than in learning, but learning is part of it, but your tarbiyah. And this is what I really recommend. Sign up to something. Like I said, I don't care what school of thought, whatever. Something where it will take you and give you an exposure to many different Islamic studies and experiences and so forth. Now, a friend of mine back in the day, Chris, he said, I'm glad he's Muslim. He said, I was wondering, should I do this master's course, this part-time, and I was thinking to myself, it's 3 years long, and it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, and after work and all that kind of stuff. And he said, you know what, that was 3 years ago. I've done it now, alhamdulillah. So sometimes it's just, when you sign up to something regular, you just have an excuse, it just pushes you to just be there, turn up, and it's one less thing to worry about. So choose something, learn, some kind of educational institute or program. I don't know if the ISOC does anything like that. Maybe don't become scholars, just so you have an exposure to, at least like a level one, many different subjects. And if you want, I can send the brothers some examples of just that kind of stuff. Because what I don't want to see, and I've seen before, is you can become level 10 in one subject and you're a 0 in everything else. That will shape, and misshape how you see and interact with the rest of Islam. So that's what I would say, long answer, sorry about that, about the challenges of students. Let me know when to finish, by the way, I'll just keep on talking.
You said that part of our attention must be one of three things, either avoiding mal or wanting to please Allah. You say in practice that you just kind of internalize those things and do things that are in line with those intentions without actually thinking about them. Or do you think you should actually consciously think that this is the reason I'm doing X thing?
Nice, good question. What's your name?
Yusuf.
Did everyone hear Yusuf's question? You know? Do you want to repeat it with some authority?
So my question was.
Can you hear Yusuf now?
Yeah. So,
Project.
Yeah.
It's easy to say with a mic, man.
Yeah. You said there's.
This is good for your therapy as part of it. That's
Right.
why we always say anything that goes wrong or anything that's like, oh, it's good for your therapy, it's for your therapy.
You said there's three correct intentions for doing something. Either you're doing it with the intention of attaining Jannah, avoiding hellfire, or pleasing Allah. And so my question was, is when in practice, when you do something good, should you actually just internalize those intentions and you therefore do good things without actually consciously thinking that I'm doing it for one of these three reasons? Or is it that you actually should consciously think I'm doing this X thing for one of these three reasons?
Very good question. There's kind of a debate on this, yeah? But it's one of those things that's more theoretical. It's kind of like, well, an amazing problem to have, right? That you're doing all these good deeds and not even realizing. So, number one, here's some facts, yeah? Allah SWT will definitely reward you for that time and that intention and the hard work you spent on conditioning yourself to automatically do good deeds. Does that make sense? Yeah? To automatically do good deeds, to basically build habits, build your subconscious, that you are now a proactive person, that you just kind of, you see someone with bags, you just automatically go and try and help them. Yeah? So that the work that you do to nurture that, you'll be rewarded for, inshallah. Yeah? You have that intention especially. And there's a little, I don't want to say debate, but there's like a tussle between, is this nature or nurture? Is this something, like the Prophet ﷺ would say to some people sometimes, you know, they would ask, is this something that Allah placed in you, or is it something that I acquired? You know? Sometimes Allah places it in you, sometimes it's acquired. Okay? But what I will say is, always assume that you will not be rewarded if you don't have the intention. Always keep yourself on your toes. Khalifa Ma'mun, yeah? I think it was Ma'mun. He said, I enjoyed pardoning people so much, yeah? I was afraid that I would stop getting rewarded for it. Yeah? Like sometimes, so this is that waswas, you know, I'm telling you about that whispering, that near OCD behavior when it comes to your intention. Always try, always force yourself to be present. Yeah? It's good that you're going around doing good deeds and not realizing, fair enough. But always try and force yourself when you're about to start doing it. Just remind yourself and cultivate the habit in the friends around you. Look, why am I doing this? Look, I'm just in Allah. I'm doing this for your sake. I'm doing this out of love, hope, fear. Yeah. Think about Jannah. Think about your sins. Think about, you know, this type of kind of imagery. Talk to yourself so that you can increase the chances, increase the quality of that act of worship, that good deed. Yeah? Because someone who just does something because they want to escape the hellfire, yeah, it's not the same. They're not going to get the same reward as someone who does something because they want to escape the hellfire, and they want paradise, and they want to display their love for Allah SWT. Yeah, this is the trade of righteous people. What happens inside? Because everyone has 24 hours in a day. Everyone has 24 hours. For a second, how long a day? Everyone has 23 hours and 57 minutes in a day, right? And there's only so much outward physical material action you can do. The thing that differentiates people is in here. Yeah, you could be reciting Quran. Yeah, imagine you recite one page of Quran. You recite Fatiha. Yeah, 1,130 good deeds. Exactly. It seems like 10 years ago we talked about that, right? It's been too long. 1,130 good deeds. And you can get that, that's your intention, fair enough. Or someone else could be reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. They have that intention as well, and they have the intention to glorify Allah openly, publicly, loudly. They have the intention, I want the walls, that these sound waves reverberate off to testify and to hear the singing the praises of Allah. I want my children, to hear and normalize them to the Book of Allah. I want my vocal cords to become used to reciting the speech of Allah more proficiently. I want to reflect over the verses that I'm reciting. I want to, you know what I mean? It's called multiple intentions. So that person is like multiplying. One person might be getting this amount of good deeds, the other person getting a huge transformative amount of good deeds, and it's about that intention. So always remember your intention. Always remember, don't go in autopilot. I mean, if you're doing something, you realize in the middle of it, redo your intention. Think about it. All these things talking about. If you did something already and you forgot, you kind of autopilot, make dua, ask Allah SWT, thank Him for the ability to do that. Show thanks, show gratitude. By the way, acting on the impulse to do something good is a type of thanks as well. And Allah will give you more and more of those. If you just tell yourself no, then that impulse will get quieter and quieter in the future. It's a type of ingratitude. So, always, the intention is a huge gold mine, right? Just think. The Prophet ﷺ said, the people in one level of paradise see the people in the next level of paradise. It's not like one guy has one garden and someone has two gardens. No. The people in one stage of paradise see the people in the stage above them like you see the stars. The difference is astronomical. It's all down to there's no physical amount of good deeds that can justify that. It's intention. Some people, you have two people praying the same prayer. Internally, one's doing it, for example, so he's not sinful. Fair enough. Allah will give him the rule for that. He will remove his sins. He'll get some benefits of the salah. Another person is intending all of these things. She has more concentration. They want to exhibit, want to display glorification of Allah, the love of Allah. They want to, they're thinking about the rewards of paradise. They're thinking about hellfire. They're thinking about their own sins. That person's salah is going to be, up in the clouds. So always, the early Muslims would say, just like you have people that teach you hadith, and teach you Quran, we wish there were people that their job is just to teach you about intention. Their job, I think Abdullah ibn Mubarak said this. We wish that there were people their job is just to teach you about ikhlas, about sincerity, about intention. It's a gold mine. It's a huge thing. Maybe we can do one day the Souls Mosque retreat, the seminar, just some of about intention, how to maximize intention, ways of intention. He said, I think it's Sufyan al-Thawri said, I worked on my intention for 40 years. Then I got it. Okay, you have these types of statements. I worked on this 40 years. So this is not a simple thing that, this is for Allah. So it has to start somewhere, but the intention is, it's limitless. That's how the Prophet defined ihsan, excellence. And ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tarah. You worship Allah as though you see Him. As though you see Him. And then, so one of the Imams, Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he said, معيار السعادة في التعامل مع الخلق أن تعامل الله فيهم. Like the gold standard, your yardstick for dealing with the creation, how you deal with the creation, is that or you're thinking while you're dealing with Allah through them. That person who uses heavy bags or whatever, you're run to them and you're thinking, I'm actually dealing with Allah here, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah put that person in front of me, He tested me, He gave me that opportunity, and I'm being proactive, I'm taking this opportunity because I'm exchanging, I'm in exchange with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, I'm getting that love, hope, fear. Oh, this is huge stuff. So, hope that answers your question. You know, always assume, yeah, that you have to think, you have to intend, you have to be present in your mind whenever you're doing something.
Dr. Salman, if it's okay, we could have one more question, is that right?
Yeah.
Also, would you like any water, because you mentioned your throat, which is probably half a joke. So this is unfortunately the biggest cup we have in the UC.
It's okay, I don't belittle or anything. Go ahead. Did you have a question or?
I did, but I think it was pretty much, I didn't actually.
Was that the question? You want some water?
I didn't hear Yusuf, but I think it was actually going to be pretty similar. I think you answered it. Is there any freshers who would like to ask anything?
I like this mic.
I think that's a question.
Sheikh, thank you very much for the talk. You mentioned the concept of fearing the lack of sincerity within your intentions. So one of the main places where there can be a bit of corruption within your intentions is like when you do good deeds in the public eye. So do you think we should have like a sort of mindset where whenever we should only do good deeds in the public eye out of necessity? So if there's an option to do it in isolation or like individually, then you should take that option.
Did you hear the question? Nice. I would say it depends, yeah? Never, ever, ever stop yourself doing something. Yeah? Just have that as the bottom line. Say, look, they say, okay, you guys know about Riya. Riya is doing something so that you're seen to be doing it. Doing something showing off, ostentation. Like you're praying because you want people to say, oh, look, man, he's praying, mashallah, look how he's looking, his back is straight and he's crying. Yeah? So that's Riya. Yeah? So that's obviously good intention or bad intention? Bad, very bad. Yeah? Now, if somebody says, I'm not going to pray out of fear of Riya, that is also Riya. Yeah? Because, you run into the thing that you're running away from. You still made the eyes of people your criterion for action or inaction. Yeah? In that scenario, if you fear Riya, first of all, that's a good thing. It shows that your heart is awake, inshallah. Secondly, you do the good deed and you just stick with it. You have to just force yourself, yeah, to do that hadith of nafs that said about talking to yourself. Just force yourself, yeah, to fight it and block it out and fix that. That mujahada, that jihad against your own self, yeah, is more beloved to Allah than if you just did the act of worship without it, just did it without showing off. Does that make sense? So, forcing yourself just to deal with it, get over it, and force yourself to try and stay focused, stay doing something for the sake of Allah, despite that fear of Riya, that actually improves the act of worship. Yeah. Now, that's why I said the criteria is don't not do something. Does that make sense? If you have a choice, I can do this thing in public and private, then do it in private. Unless, yeah, you know doing something in public, maybe you have little brothers, sisters, maybe you're a senior person in the ISOC, whatever, your intention is to lead by example. You know, if we all pray, and we all leave, then people aren't going to pray sunnah. But if I get up and pray sunnah, it's going to force everyone to stick around and we're going to pray sunnah. Do you hear what I mean? Your intention is still to increase the glorification of Allah. Not because I'm praying and people are going to say, oh, look, this guy's praying. You have to just deal with that. You have to just force your way through. But, so that's the thing. Think of the yardstick or the bottom line as is more ibadah going to happen or less? If you know, for example, Prophet ﷺ said, in a nutshell, praying sunnah prayers at home is better than praying in the masjid. Yeah? But if you know, I'm going to be able to pray sunnah at home, then fair enough, do it. If you know yourself, you think, you know what, it's a bit risky. When I go home, the PS5's there, you know, the bed might just kind of knock out. I'm just going to pray sunnah here in public, in the masjid and prayer room, whatever. Then do that, because you're thinking about the consequences. Which way is going to make me increase my ibadah? Does that make sense? Think of that as the bottom line. You know, there was this guy, I forgot his name. He was the creative lead under Steve Jobs. Do you guys know who Steve Jobs is? Yeah? Not that young. He was, yeah. Was he Muslim? I heard he was like Syrian heritage or something. I don't know. Yeah, he wasn't Muslim. But he was like maybe a few generations ago. But anyway, he was a creative lead or something under Steve Jobs, and he wrote a book called Creative Selection. And he gave this example of the Safari browser when they were remaking it. Any Mac people here? Yeah? Tough crowd. Okay, so it's like the best browser in the world. It's just a browser. They were redesigning it, and they said, you know what, our main thing is page loading time. Yeah? Any change you want to make, you want to add a button, you want to change the color, you want to do any code in the background, you have to make sure the page loading speed is either better or at least the same. If you do something, make some change, and the page loading speed gets worse, then you have to make some other changes to make up for them. Does that make sense? And I thought this is how we should approach anything to do with ibadah, knowledge, and anything. If your knowledge leads to a reduction in your actions, then there's an alarm bell going off there, right? Anything, your knowledge, your friends circle, your whatever, if it leads to your actions becoming less and lower quality and quantity, then that's a big red flag. Always try and select for those things that increase ta'zim, glorification of Allah, that increase your, not your mood, yeah? Because if we say increase your iman, people think that kind of nice dopamine feeling you get. That's not iman, yeah? Iman comes from like hard work, that you do get a taste, a good taste, alhamdulillah, eventually, that's what I heard. You do get a good taste, but it's not like that thing, oh wow, man, look at this nice YouTube video, 30-second, my iman is so high now. That's probably not iman. Yeah? Or maybe like in some like element of iman, but from your actions, your good deeds, your glorification of Allah, how you react when you listen to the Quran, yeah? How you react to sin and good deeds. Yeah, this is iman, like the long-term hard work effect. So things that increase your actions, your good deeds, your proactivity, your iman, select for those things. Yeah? Does that make sense? So it might be public, might be private, but look for that. What will increase my servitude, my ubudiyah, my glorification of Allah, my good deeds, my proactivity, my activism. Select for that. Allah knows best. Right? Jazakumullah khairan.